Also, I wanted to thank real quickly Dan Baumgart, who actually suggested that we give a little update to this effort on this call. Many of you probably saw that in the regional training memorandum, there is a requirement for mesoanalysis training, and you may be wondering what the heck is that and will it actually be delivered? And that really is this Mesoscale Environment Analysis, or the MEA course, which is being developed as part of a field effort. As Randy mentioned, both Jenny and I are part of it. And as you can see here, there's actually a wide spectrum of folks from across the Weather Service that are involved with it. Pete Wolf, former Central Region Sioux, is kind of leading up the effort, but you can see there's a wide range of folks. We actually have four rather, Central Region employees that are involved with this, including Brian down in Topeka and Ariel returning to Central Region now in Pueblo. So actually a good spectrum, including an SPC representative and Andrew Moore, that are helping out with this particular effort. And it's something that we really started getting going late last spring into early in the summer. And I can report to you that it is basically ready to go or very close to that. And we're actually getting an independent course review completed now. So what happened is this group got together, we sort of identified what we want to cover as part of this course, and really the selling point is to take all those great lecture video series that are out there now from like SPC that Ariel was heavily involved with developing, and really turning them into more applications-based type of training. And that's really what the MEA course ends up being, is it's more very applications-oriented, case-driven, example-driven kind of thing. So our team developed these large series of modules, which I'll show you here just in a minute. And we finished them all prior to the holidays, and they're actually going through an independent course review right now. And as you can see, we also have good Central Region representation on that. Thanks, John and Pat on this call for working through this sort of large course to provide independent review for that. And once that review is completed, then our team will come back and make some final revisions to the content, and then we'll be releasing it all to all of you, hopefully sometime in February. The real vision, again, as I mentioned, behind this MEA is to kind of provide this interactive training program that's more related to applications, case examples, and things like that, as opposed to just theory, to really provide a foundation for the interest in mesoscale analysis that's really being, out there right now. And what we really wanted to do is help develop that set of MEA experts. I know there's other groups that are looking at this. Central Region has our mesoanalysis working group as well. We want to provide, develop this set of experts at the WFOs to really enhance our services, but we need that foundational training. And MEA is hopefully going to sort of serve as one of the major components of that going forward. So the course, what does that actually look like? Well, there's 3 different parts of the full course. The first part is these science assessments that I'll talk about in a minute. And then the meat of it is these course modules, which will be essentially YouTube videos that folks can work through. And then there's these case exercises. But when I say YouTube videos, I don't mean that you're just going to sit and watch them. There's a lot of pauses and trying to make them interactive during the video. For example, the presenter might stop and say, what do you think about this? And then pause. Hopefully that kind of gets the person to kind of think about the answers that go along. They're very case driven. So the first part, though, is these science assessments, and really these, as it says, they're just provided for the benefit of the person prior to completing the MEA course modules. And what these really are there a set of Google slides that the forecaster that's taking the course can go through, and it essentially asks a series of questions, sort of as review material. Do you understand these topics? And you just sort of self-assess, answer them to yourself as you go along. And then when you get to the end, you get the expert answers to those questions, as well as some references that maybe you want to go back and take a look through. And this sort of falls back and referring to some of that other material that's out there, like the FOSS series on the SPC webpage, some of those other pre-existing videos and resources that are out there, including walk and things like that. And sort of gets you set up for what's to come, which is sort of the meat of these MEA course modules. And as you can see, there's a wide spectrum here. They're kind of broken up into 3 different categories: tools and technologies, sort of operations, and then of course the all-important communication aspects of it. And it covers everything from advanced QT stuff to really the individual things, talking about PDFs and how we determine probability, and then of course all the way up to the IDSS messaging. In a lot of ways, this takes what was done in the mesoanalysis boot camps and sort of turns them into material that can be shared more widely, of course, to get sort of everyone on this baseline of things. And then part 3 is these case exercises, which again are things that are developed so that the local training officer can lead their folks through to at the end of the course, to really kind of get them prepped for playing with and actually building some experience with what they've learned through the course. And they're really going to be designed so that you can make them kind of what you want of them as you come through. And the idea really behind this MEA course is that someone that's going to become a mesoanalysis expert in your office really does probably go through the whole course, but it's really probably going to be pretty flexible. And as you all know, there's this training memo requirement for all the forecasters. And this is based on the recommendation by the CR Mesoanalysis Working Group, which you see listed there. And these are the modules that our group voted on and recommended be included in that training memo. So these are the ones of that full listing that'll be required of all the forecasters. And you can see there's a spectrum of kind of starting with the risk management, why do we do mesoanalysis, up to these sort of some baseline science concepts, and then really the workflow and the IDSS messaging. So a baseline for everyone. And then of course, as I mentioned, the hope is that the folks that'll really want to be the mesoanalysis experts in your offices probably will go through the full course. So as you can see, it's big. It's around 20 hours for the whole thing or so. So upcoming, as I mentioned, we're getting that course review finished right now. Hopefully that'll be done late January sometime. Thanks again, John and Pat, for helping out with that. That's a huge component of this. Following our revisions from the team after we get that review, we really are on track for this to be released in early to mid-February. The modules, as I mentioned, they're all done. We're just doing review and revisions. We're going to have a Google Sites page that's going to have all this neatly organized on it for you for sending it out for quick links. And there's also going to be links to all the modules in the CLC as well. And then also upcoming is going to be these sort of train the trainer webinars in February. Expect an announcement soon, probably coming from Pete. And the focus of these webinars will sort of be on the SUSE as a motivator for completing the course and taking it, and also all the options that you're going to have for providing either all or parts of the course to forecasters in your office. And of course, as part of that, we know this central region has those subset of modules that'll be for everyone as well. I think that's all the slides I have. Jenny, is there anything that I missed that we want to add?
I think the only thing that I would add would just be about the cases, that part 3. So basically what that's going to be is another set of Google Slides. It's not a West case, and we're just providing data. So we'll go through some mesoanalysis stuff, some synoptic down to mesoscale, and then have a couple of activities that the forecaster, whoever's going through the training, will complete, like writing a mesoscale AFD or writing a blurb for NWS chat, or maybe drawing a graphic. And then the other component of that case will be an instructor version, so that they have kind of the answer key, what they should be looking for in these cases, and ideally what that graphic or that AFD would look like. So it allows the SU to select if they want to use one or more per year. They can decide kind of what area they want to focus on, what do they want them to make a graphic, do they want them to make an AFD. So it's really up to the SU to decide what type of case they want to use, how many cases they want to use, and then they have all of the answers in front of them. So Ariel has done the heavy lift on most of these cases, and then I'm also adapting some of the cases from the OPG Mesoanalysis Bootcamp, so we're going to reuse a couple of those cases as well. So we've got 9 right now, and then I'm also adding a Nashville case, so we should have at least 10, and we'll continue to add to that repository as we get more cases. And if there's one from your area that you thought was really good and want to write up, we can definitely incorporate that as well.
Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, and if it's not apparent, and I'm biased, but I'm very excited about this course, and I'm sure Jenny feels the same way. There's a lot of really great material here, and those case exercises being so flexible and adaptable and really helping to bring it together is a big part of it. So I think that's all we have, unless anybody has any questions for us, which we'd of course be happy to take.